Good morning, friends. This is your old girl, Melanie Rose, here to share your daily aspects. Today is Saturday, December 18, 2021. The sun continues in Sagittarius through winter solstice next Tuesday. Hopefully this sun transit has helped us keep ourselves warm with some fiery characteristics. Curiosity, exploration, playfulness, honesty. These are the personality markers of someone under a strong Sagittarius influence. If you've had a good opportunity to indulge in these drives, I congratulate you, and I encourage you to keep the skills you practiced near to hand as we progress into the new year. The moon is in Gemini all day today. Moon in Gemini picks up the pace and invites us to sing, laugh, collaborate, chat, and otherwise create using our thoughts and words. We are busy now because we want to be, and we only have to make sure not to spread ourselves too thin. And welcome, friends, to the final full moon of 2021, aptly named the cold moon, and because of its proximity to winter solstice, sometimes called the long night moon. This is definitely the time by which we would traditionally want to have all of our resources stacked up against the possibility of a long winter. This full moon will be followed closely by a trine aspect with Jupiter, and Jupiter brings good fortune. So, if you have spells to cast, manifestations to express, or wishes to make, do it tonight, friends. Let's see. Express yourselves. Let's take a look at these planets and aspects before we get into the interpretations. I have prepared a legend of the symbols we'll be looking at today so that we can start with an idea of what energies are in play. As ever, at the top of our list is the sun. The sun represents our outer life. This is who we are when we step out the door. It's the person that people get to know when they meet us for the first time. And it's how we engage in our social sphere and also our civic and work spheres. After the sun comes the moon. The moon represents the inner life. This is more about our relationship with ourselves, our emotions, intuitions, the things we know, and how we come to engage in our domestic sphere, as well as who's there with us and where that happens to be. We have Neptune on the page today. Neptune represents our relationship to the human collective. Mercury represents the intellect, that is, especially our day-to-day thoughts, communications, the plans we make, and the running around that we do. Chiron represents our healing. And Jupiter represents growth, positive expansion, good fortune. Venus over here is our planet for love and money, or in other words, how do you relate to those things and people that you value the most? And Pluto is our planet for extremes, that is the death and rebirth, the endings and beginnings, and also the high highs and the low lows of our emotions, our intuitions, and our experiences overall. As for the aspect energies on the page today, we have square. Square represents the potential for challenges. I see an opposition here. Opposition generally represents conflict or an opportunity to find the balance in a situation. Trine is a very positive aspect, and it brings in a harmonious vibration. And conjunct tends to amplify the effects of both planets involved. Signs of mention on the page today are Sagittarius and Gemini. So with all of that said, I have divided our aspects into two columns, one for each of our luminaries. The moon sheds light on our inner lives, and it sets the tone for our emotional experiences and our domestic relations. The moon moves very quickly, creating many brief aspects that represent ambient energies that may produce moods and other internal experiences for us throughout the course of the day. The sun sheds light on our outer lives, and I address the rest of the planets on this side because these aspects take longer and they have more of an impact on our actions and interactions out in the world. We start with the moon today. Central Standard Time, friends, at 8:24 in the morning. The moon makes a square with Neptune. This aspect is about our emotional and intuitive life as it relates to humanity at large. Square aspect brings in challenges like deals that seem too good to be true and other outrageous stories and claims that we feel like we'd be crazy to believe. This is a 2-hour aspect, and if you can't believe it's not butter, it probably is. So, 2 hours. And unbelievable tales may be told. I would keep your counsel and wait to see how they pan out. Then around the corner on just the other side of the clock at 12:02 a.m. Sunday morning, we have a void of course moon trine Jupiter. So this is actually just a couple of hours after the moon reaches its fullness. This void of course moon trine Jupiter brings us expansive good fortune in the heart and home. And by the light of the full moon, that's really kind of considered a lucky full moon. So that's why I'm saying, make your manifestations and cast your spells and ask for those things that only the universe knows how to provide you. Good fortune all around. So today's lunar energy signature takes us from incredulous to incredibly fortunate and happy in the space of, a whole day. As for today, as for the sun side of the page, starting with the ongoing column, we see here that we have Venus conjunct Pluto. Now, I had taken this off the board. We looked at it like 12:08 through 12:12, and it comes back up 12:25 on the 25th of this month through the 29th. But really, this whole time, from the 8th through the 29th, Venus and Pluto will be within 1 degree of each other. And what that tells you, really, is that if you went outside and you could locate Venus, you'd know pretty much right where Pluto is because they're overlapping. They're standing on top of each other in the sky. So the effects of both of these planets with a conjunct aspect is likely to be boosted. This is your desire and extremes. So we're going to have very increased sense of desire, and we're also experiencing a very increased sense of attractiveness and magnetism. Our pulling power is greater when it comes to attracting those people and things to us that we value highly. This is an opportunity to take a look at our love habits, since our love habits will be sort of intensified and will be shown like the extreme effects of the way we behave when it comes to those people and things that we value. We want to, because our attractiveness is increased at this time, we want to make that vow to use our powers for good. We don't want to try to manipulate anybody or, do anything that negates their consent in the matter. And the challenge here is, for this to go well, for this conjunct aspect to not be too much for us, it's to be really wide open with your heart in those relationships that you value the most. No ulterior motives, no conditions placed on those relationships, just to give of yourself. As for today on the sun side of the page, we see Mercury square Chiron at 8:35 in the evening. Mercury square Chiron We're not feeling so agreeable to just anything at this time, and this can bring us challenges when relating to those who are close to us. We're less likely to go along for the sake of getting along, and others may think we're being shady because of that, but we're really just interested in authenticity and not sure that we see any. So, not so agreeable. Seeking authenticity. And this occurs to me like something that we were set up for this morning with, you know, the unbelievable tales and claims that somebody or something might make in and on our lives. So, you know, we're not coming into this full moon necessarily feeling very trusting of the people that are around us. This is a 2-day aspect. So, you know, if you're not feeling agreeable and you're just seeking authenticity, you know, you want people to come to you with their full heart open, you know, keep your eyes peeled for that. You know when people are placing conditions on your relationships, and you know when people have ulterior motives. And in this case, you don't necessarily have to deal with those people. Then at 10:35, just 2 hours later, the sun goes in opposition to the moon. Now, this is the aspect that indicates the precise moment of the moon's fullness, and it's a big moment of transition. Before this moment, the moon was waxing, and the energy was one of building and increase. After this moment, the moon begins waning, and the energy becomes one of decrease or letting go. We have about a day to be in peak celebration of those things we have manifested or brought to completion at this time. Symbolically, though, the sun being in opposition with the moon says that the outer life is not necessarily in balance with the inner life. We have to seek the balance between these two. They're sort of in conflict with one another. This is a 1-day outer and inner lives seeking balance. So it's not a time to be surprised if you find yourself at odds with people that you're normally very close to, but it is a time of celebration. And you know, we've got this Jupiter trine, this moon trine Jupiter coming up afterward that really brings good fortune. So if you're up at midnight, if you're up at the witching hour, you know, get out there and celebrate and ask for what it is that you need from the universe and from your closest relationships and your relationship with humanity. So coming up this week, tomorrow, Venus is stationing to go retrograde, creating a space of time for us to reassess who and what we value without the pressure of making any fresh commitments. Also tomorrow, Chiron will turn direct, bringing the healing we've done on the inside to bear with the healing we have to do in the outer life. And I have prepared a 2-episode, actually, sort of expose on Venus retrograde and Chiron direct and how they're going to work together for us. So look for that. It's just going to be titled Venus retrograde, probably Relationships in Review or something, part 1 and part 2. Next week on Thursday, we will begin yet another 2-week-long Saturn aspect. Saturn square Uranus will have us facing down some unexpected changes, or perhaps trying to make some changes and feeling limited in our ability to do so. And we discussed that a little bit more with the Venus retrograde special episode. Also next Saturday, the 25th, Mars will make a harmonious trine aspect with Chiron, and that Venus conjunct Pluto will stage its return performance post-Venus retrograde. Next Sunday will give us a 3rd quarter moon in Libra, and we will talk about these things and more as they arise. That's it for today, friends. This has been your Daily Aspects, an astrological weather forecast for Saturday, December 18, 2021. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. And if you haven't already, please like my video and subscribe to the Old Girl channel. I will leave this up here for a little bit longer so that you may have time to look it over. Thank you all so much for being here with me today. My name is Melanie Rose, and I will see you back here tomorrow for more daily aspects.